Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Another beautiful winter's day today. The sun is out. It's probably about 12, 14 degrees, and we had a little bit of frost this morning, but it's turned into a really lovely day. Basically the same things to report around the farm as last week. My garlic has now started to sprout. It's about this high. It's getting nice protection from being in the pellet garden boxes that we built. The grass is growing well. We're still holding water in the dams, and we had quite a lot of rain this past week. It's been really wonderful. I really enjoy the wet days and not the cold and windy days. I just heard Evie bar at me. She is still in the paddock by herself, but she is definitely improving. She's able to put much more pressure on it now, and she is walking reasonably well. But as soon as she starts to do any sort of running, she starts to limp off it again. So probably a few more days, and then I'll get the boys in here with her on the grass for a little bit before I put them all back together. So very pleased with her progress. Today is the last day of term, so school holidays for a couple of weeks, which is great. So I'm looking forward to sleeping in, or at least not having to get up and get going in the dark in the mornings, and to doing a few things around here. I want to do much more gardening out here. Like on days like today, it would just be amazing to be able to spend bits of time out gardening and then come in here and knit for a while. I need to take care of the trees down by the dam and start to look at another potential spot for another land care planting. So that's something that I need to sort of get onto during the holidays as well. So first to what I'm wearing this week. This is the True Stripes jumper, which is in the 52 weeks of easy knits. It's a drop shoulder, knit in pieces and seamed together. It is done in all Australian dyed yarn or Australian yarn. The cream is a Bendigo Woolen Mills. It's all 8-ply. This is from the Knitting Man Recommends in Old Miller Green. The burgundy and green are both from Colleen's Crafts, and the yellow with the splashes of orange in it are Fluff and Nonsense, and it's the Mango Daiquiri colorway. Love this oversized jumper. This is one of the only jumpers that I have that is a little bit sort of baggy on me. And putting it on this morning, I was reminded that I probably should make another oversized jumper for myself because it is quite comfortable to wear. My only issue is that the neck is a little bit wide, and that's why I'm wearing a scarf, just to keep the back of my neck a little bit warm. But it does stretch out over the day as well, and is a little bit wide for me. So I think if I was to make this again, and probably keeping in mind when I do other drop shoulders, is to make sure that I cast on the smallest size for the neck, or do the shaping for the smaller size and then figure that out backwards, or do some extra ribbing just to pull it in a bit further. So, but apart from that, absolutely love it and love my color choices for this one. The sun is doing really bad things today. Not bad things in terms of the warmth, but bad things in terms of where the glare is coming in. So to my knitting this week, where to start? Actually, let's start with acquisitions instead, because that'll lead into my knitting. So I placed an order with Get Flocked, which is a New Zealand shop, for a needle case and for some cables and some Chiago needles. I did some research, and it was actually cheaper to buy it from New Zealand and pay the postage from New Zealand than it was to buy it in Australia and pay the postage in Australia. So I made sure to add a few things to my cart to make it absolutely worthwhile. And I made a significant purchase for myself that is not yarn, but instead a redesign project. This is a Project 14 needle case. So previously what I was doing was keeping pretty much everything in my Chiagu bag. And quite a while ago, I filmed a video about how I had hacked my Chiagu bag so that I was able to keep my my cords. This is empty now. Keep my cords in this side where the big tips are, and I kept my smaller tips on this side, and then I had the two mini sets in here as well. And then basically all my notions and everything went in the front pouch. But it was absolutely bulging, and I was finding that when I opened it up, because the needles sat, I don't know if you can see, let me just pull those out. Because the needles sat in here, I was finding that they were actually falling out, and I was losing them down the side of the couch, and it was really annoying me. So I was looking for a different option, and I saw this redesign needle folio, I guess you would call it, and I decided that I needed one of these. So I have now put all of my needles, oops, my pen fell out, here instead. So I've got the tips there, my regular size tips. I've left the shorter tips in their little bags, but they're the only the tips are in there. Nothing else is in there now. These here, I've got one that holds stitch markers and one that holds the connectors for the cables, for making the cables longer, and also for adapting all of my cables from the small size of the needles to the large size of the needles. Because what I decided was, rather than go and buy a whole new set of cables, I bought two of the adapter sets, and you just screw them onto the cables you already have, and then you can attach all of the larger sizes of the needles. So that's what I've done. And then I've got my red cables here. I've got my maple and thread container that still has like the little bits. I can pull that out to use it for my tools. Got all of my other cables over on this side. These are the twist ones, the new twist ones. Much better than the original twist that were the clear plastic cables. These ones are similar to the red cables, but they are clear, and then but their ends twist, so that less likely for me to have the tip of the needle untwist while you're working. And then in here I have some other cables, and I've got a tape measure in the front pocket here, and the tools for tightening. So I feel like I've been able to much more easily contain all of my items in almost the same footprint, but it doesn't feel like it's bulging, and it's much easier to close, and I don't feel like my tips are about to fall out every single time I open up my bag. So now I feel like I actually have some space to buy some additional tips and just fill out my collection a little bit so that I have every needle that I could possibly need. So in addition to that, I also bought a pair of the short Chiagu needles, a set of 2.75s for knitting socks in the round. I've never used those short, just round and round needles for socks. I've used double points. I've used two long circulars. I've used magic loop, and I've used like the Addy, what are they called? Clicks? No, not clicks. The ones with a trio where there's the three needles. Um, but I had never done the in the round on the short needles before. So this is the first sock for my mum. So it's all finished. I did drop in, and I've gifted Dad his socks. So they're out of this bag now. But this is the first of my mum's birthday socks. She wanted them nice and long, so they are the same. The cuff is the same length as the foot. and I've started the second one. I started the first one, started the second one on my doing magic loop, and I've now switched to my brand new little short needles. I'm still getting used to them, so I'm not probably as quick as I could be, but I am enjoying it. I think for my circumference of foot and for my mum's is probably not quite enough stitches. So I've sort of got to figure out if maybe I do slightly more stitches so that I can actually more easily work in the round, or if I just change the way I hold it. So I'm still kind of working on perfecting it, but I'm excited to have tried it, and it'll be interesting now to see if the tension between these two change all that much. Doesn't look like it so far, and I've kind of just by accident cast on in basically the same spot with the pink as I did with the grey here. So I'm going to end up with basically opposite striped socks, which is pretty fun. So yeah, I will be working on those and trying to perfect my um, technique with these new short needles. Oh, and this is wool from Wangaratta Woolen Mills that I got ages and ages ago. I think I ended up buying like 3 big hanks of it, and it's made plenty of self-striping socks, and I enjoy just knitting with this too. It's a great sock yarn that I've used for years now, and I've still got another whole big hank left, so it's great. So next to a finished object, I'm jumping all over the place today. I didn't write any notes, and so I'm just sort of looking at what I've got in my bags. So this is the See My Vest Chunky by Maker Maker. This is um, finished. I'm not sure if I showed it finished last week or if I had one of the arms left to go, but it is now finished. It's not blocked, but I did wear it. It is out of the Knitting Man recommends Mr. Wuffy base in the Secrets Within, which is the mohair, and I combined that with a lace weight from a Dreaming Color club from 2014, I think. And it was quite a rainbow color. So I think together it's made a really lovely fabric. My only issue with it is, and it was super warm, I love wearing it, is that the arms are probably a little bit too wide and big for me. So I think now I have made a second one, which I will share in a minute. So I've made some modifications to the second one, but I think potentially I may rip back these holes, not the holes, rip back the ribbing on the sleeves and redo it, picking up less stitches and maybe dropping down another needle size on these, just to snug it up a little bit, because it felt a little bit like it was sort of sticking out straight rather than grabbing on as it should. But super light and wonderful to wear, and was a really good piece to wear in the office. So that's that one done. As soon as I finish this one, I cast on a second one. And here she is, all finished. Um, and this one looks smaller. I think my gauge was a bit tighter on this one, and the yarn wasn't quite as chunky, but I've still managed to create a really wearable garment. And so you can see the sleeves are much tighter on this one. I cast on for the second size, but then I did the shaping for the underarm and the neck for the smallest size. So it's wider down here, and then there are less stitches between this part here and less shaping through this part and through the front. So it's going to snug up around my neck a bit more, and it's going to snug up around my arms. And I feel like that's a much better fit overall. So when I make another one, I think that I will probably use this method for myself. So for this one, I used 3 different yarns to get the chunky weight. I used this, which I've still got tons left. I could probably make another one out of this. I used this, which is by Colleen's Crafts, and it was a really huge rainbow skein that she had at Bendigo Sheep and Wool Show a few years ago, and I just could not go past it. I just thought how fun. I've already made a big cowl with this, and I still have plenty left. Then I also used some of my own mohair. This is my wispy lace base, and this is wildflowers. And I had this left over from another project, and so I just grabbed that to use. And I also used, which I used every single bit of, I used 2 skeins of Sublime Kid Mohair blend that I had in my stash in a light green. If you can see here, where is it? Here. So this was the Sublime yarn. Now I ran out of the Sublime yarn just as I was binding off for the neck. So there's a few stitches in the neck bind off that don't have the Sublime in it. Instead, I held the this wispy lace double. And then for the armhole sleeves, why do I keep saying armhole sleeves? For the ribbing on the arms, I also just held the mohair double with this because I didn't have any of my light green left. And you can't really tell. So yeah, so that was my second See My Vest by Maker Maker. Super happy with both of these, and really good way to use some yarns that I really wasn't sure what to do with. They're quite all over the place rainbow colors, but done with holding something else with it with a mohair, I think has just made them really great wearable pieces. So 2 finished objects, only socks on the needles. So, did I go back to any of the whips that I have sitting around in bags in the house? Of course I didn't. I've cast on something new. I think with the holidays coming up, I might dip back into some of those more complicated patterns and other things that I have sitting in the house. I am thinking that I will frog my Pescadero top. I just think after wearing this especially, I'm finding that top is going to be way too tight, and I think that I should rip it out, save the yarn, and either go up a size in that particular pattern or find another use for it that I'll actually end up wearing, because I just think that if I make something skin tight, I'm just not going to wear it. So we need to be realistic about these things, and it's been sitting for a while now, and I think that it's because even after blocking and thinking that it probably would be okay, I think I'll be forcing it, and I do have enough yarn, I believe, to make something that is a bit more not oversized, a bit more loose would be the right word. So I've been inspired to use things in my stash and to bring colors together and to be a little bit, maybe, I don't know if adventurous is the right word, but I just feel like using color, and maybe it's because it's winter and it's been a bit grey, but I have decided to make the cross hill cardigan. I'll put details on the screen. So it is a waterfall style cardigan that has a solid color stripe and then a stripe of a color with a lace pattern that just goes throughout. So they use like a gradient set, and I went through my stash and I have found a really fun combination of colors. I've cast on, but I'm not very far through. But let me share with you the colors that I've chosen. So here's my cast on so far. So this is the back of the neck. I've done some increases, and I'm just about to start into the first of the colored stripes with the lace. Put it there, you can see. So my main color is this gorgeousness, which is called Pinot on the Carpet, and it is by Bob Jarns. It is a 4-ply fingering weight in her Dynamite Superwash Merino base. It's quite a thin fingering weight, which is fine. So I went down a needle size compared to what the pattern called for. I did cast on and I felt like it was a bit too gappy, and I wasn't getting gauge. So it's a beautiful purple, red, pink, really dark and moody combination, which also has lots of cat hair on it. So I've got 2 skeins of this, and I bought this when I went on the Unwind Yarn cruise to Hobart. Then, to go with that, I have 8 different colours, I think it is. So this first one, this is my first stripe. It is from Yarn Trader, and this is scraps from a different project. I think it's called like Garden Party or Tea Party, something like that. Really pretty speckled, cream base with lots of different colours. Then I had a mini skein set that I bought from Salamanca Wool Shop in Hobart. That was a Sally Ridgway collection of colorways. Another hand dyer based in, sorry, I'm looking down. Another hand dyer based in Tasmania. So I'll just grab this one out. I'm going to stick my finger in there. This is going to be my, oh, how rude. Sorry. This will be my second color. And it is Sally Ridgway. And this color is Tea Rose. I can just pop this back in the middle. So I have Tea Rose. And then I have to remember my order. I took a photo, so I might put the photo in here. Then I think it's going to be this one. Or this one. This one. Keep doing that. Which is from a Dreaming Colour Club, I think from the same year, like 2013, 2014. I don't have a name on it. So it's like a light sort of golden orangey colour. Then this one, which is more of a, it's not too bad. It's hard to get the colours with this sun. And this one is called, these are sort of natural. I think it's something to do with sand. This one is called Amber. Trying to get the tag back inside. I'm gonna have to rewind these. Then I think I'll be using this one, which is a one-of-a-kind colorway from Bombed Yarns. So it has sort of like orangey speckles in it, so it'll blend with that one. Then I have this, which I think is, no, I don't know. I thought I knew, but I don't really know. Mountain Wine. Then we get into some darker colors. I think this one is called Wombat. Sort of a light brown. It's not coming up very well on screen. And then dark grey, and this one is called Soot. So these 1, 2, 3, these 5 were in a set together, and then there was an additional Wombat and an additional Mountain Wine, I think. So I took those out and I've added in those other colors instead to complement what I had and to add a little bit of interest and speckle in there as well. And hopefully they'll be a lovely progression of colors for these stripes on this cardigan. So I was actually quite excited to start this. It now has this 3/3 gather pattern. and I'm looking forward to trying that out. And I'm hoping that even though there's some like complicated-ish lace rows, that the interest between knitting the solid color and the different stripes will keep me interested, and that it will create a really beautiful colorful jacket that I will be able to wear. So that is my latest cast on. That's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you enjoy these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.